What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm talking about Eden, as in Garden of Eden. It's not biblical, but maybe it is. They do mention the Bible in this film, so perhaps this is an illusion of sorts. This film stars Jude Law, Vanessa Kirby, Sydney Sweeney, Ana de Armas, and Daniel Bruhl, and it's directed by Ron Howard. It's actually premiered at the 2024 Toronto International Film Festival and took a full year to come out, even longer than Life of Chuck. It wasn't initially well received, but it's still Ron Howard, so I was still excited to see what Ron Howard had to do with it, despite the fact that, Ron's track record is hit or miss at times. But when he hits, he hits. It's hard to argue the power of Apollo 13. So, and here with a stacked cast of Jude Law and Kirby and de Armas and Sweeney and Bruhl, that's a good cast. So I'm not mad. So Jude Law plays a scientist, a researcher of sorts, who moves with his wife, played by Vanessa Kirby, to an island in the Galapagos that is uninhabited by men, and is trying to start start living this life away from everybody else. This is supposedly a true story that actually happened. They show some photos at the end. I'm thinking this is one of those really thinly based on a true story things, and they took a lot of liberties. There might be some truth at the core essence, but I don't think this is 100% accurate. And he's writing these things that get sent off, and somehow other people pick up on it. So we get Daniel Bruhl and Sydney Sweeney, who play this couple that come in, and she's his second wife, and he has like a tween son, and they are the first ones to sort of follow, and they want to live this life. So Jude Law doesn't really want them there. He sends them off to this other area of the island where he thinks that they won't thrive, but they end up thriving. And then the third party comes to join, which is Ana de Armas, who is this, baroness, or is she? But baroness who loves having men around at all times. I don't know. She's got two guys that she's actively in a relationship with, and then a third guy who's just there. I was thinking it's got to be so weird to be the third guy. And these three different groups of people are going to try to coexist, but they're not going to really be able to on this island. And the film is about all the different things that happen. Law and Kirby have a pretty established little garden. They have a donkey. They're strictly vegetarian, so even though there are animals that are on the island, they don't eat them. And Law is just working on his writing all the time, and does his own dental work. And Kirby is suffering from multiple sclerosis. So supposedly this island is supposed to be better for her. Meanwhile, Bruhl and Sweeney, she ends up being pregnant, so she has to deal with that while she's on the island. In one of the more interesting scenes in the movie, I'll give it that. They do use it very well, and Sydney does a lovely job with it. And de Armas has this flirtatious way about her the whole way. It's very actually, it's one of her better performances. I really loved Ana de Armas in this. I currently have her as being a possible for my supporting actress list at the end of the year. I don't think she's not going to be number one, but it definitely stood out to me as being like a performance from an actress that I didn't used to like, who I've really started to appreciate more recently. Early on, De Armas performances are kind of rough and painful to get through, but she's really found her stride, and people are casting her exactly where she needs to be. And she's a standout in this movie and just eats up the scenery. Jude Law is basically being Jude Law. You could not watch this movie and imagine exactly what Jude Law would be doing in it. Vanessa Kirby has a little bit more of a struggle being the somewhat appreciative wife, but kind of it's definitely trouble in paradise, but what kind of trouble and from where, and what is the underlying theme between these two. I think in terms of her performances this year, I think Night Always Comes gave her more to do. This is more subdued and more internalized. We also, Daniel Bruhl, he's fine. He's of the performers, of the actors, he kind of has like the least amount of, his stuff is kind of towards the end where he gets maybe sort of like any emotional swings. Sweeney does a nice job. So yeah, I didn't hate this movie. I think it doesn't feel like it's paced well. It doesn't feel like it's edited well. It feels like it's just kind of a jumbled mess. This feels like one of those films that would be broken into chapters, like the new thing that we're doing with chapters, right? Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. It feels kind of disjointed at times as we advance. I didn't even really notice the passing of seasons until we got to like fall, like autumn, and I was like, what season were we in? I didn't even know. I realized I hadn't paid attention to that, and I didn't know that it was ever important. But yeah, I think that it feels like Ron Howard had a puzzle that was really good, and he assembled it quickly and didn't notice that some of the pieces were not in the right place and just kind of shoved them in there. And then you walk up and you're like, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess you kind of made it work, but that's clearly not how the puzzle's supposed to be. It feels like there's something that's just a little bit off about it, and he's trying to be like, no, I finished. It's done. And I don't know, is it? So perhaps another pass from Howard would have kind of pushed this film a little bit over the edge. Or maybe just a different director, it has vibes of The Menu at times, which is not really his style. It kind of does feel like it's not a Ron Howard movie, and a different auteur picking up on this and running with it might have known what to do with the film if this is Ron Howard interpreting the screenplay. So perhaps just a different director in the chair would have done it better. For example, like, I think, I really liked Nuremberg this year, but that's like a Ron Howard movie. Like that's the kind of stuff that Ron Howard does really well. And Nuremberg probably would be in the Best Picture race if Ron Howard had gotten behind it. Structured the way that it is, he would have understood the assignment and done everything to get Nuremberg across the finish line. So this feels like something that if the screenplay had been dropped in front of I don't know, Yorgos Lanthimos, he would have been like, I can do something with this. So it just kind of feels like a clash of ideas and style. But we have audio description here. It's from Access Media, that group that is trying to drive me insane slowly by being like the flip of Media Access Group. So they're the Access Media. I get it. I mean, they're just words. We can flip them around. But so they're doing it. And I like the audio description track to this. I think it's fine. It seems to note and pay attention to a lot of the details in the movie, especially some of the more um, interesting details. I don't want to get into spoilers. Uh, realize I'm going to trend into spoilers here, but there was a reference to the color blue. I'm just going to throw that out there that I thought was a nice touch because it said a lot about the moment that we were in. So I and then I live in this binary world, right, where everything is fresh or rotten, and it's like, did I like it? Yeah, I did. I I you could say maybe I'm easy to please, but it's a flawed movie, but its performances are good. I don't know that it's Ron Howard's best direction. I think there's a great concept here. I think, uh, am I going to say run out and see this movie immediately? No. It does have some good audio description if you do choose to watch it. I like the audio description track to this. But yeah, it's not a rush. Like, don't hurry. But if Eden happens to be on your streaming service and they maintain the audio description track, and you want to see sort of a dark comedy about three groups of people trying to survive on an island, cool. It has earned its R rating. I'll give you that. So, but I'm going to go positive on this, and I'm going to give Eden a 6.6 out of 10. So I think based on kind of what I've been seeing and where with other kind of films, and I think that's where Eden lands for me. So it's a few points above my my middle. So yeah, so thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys on the other side. I have to turn off the camera in an awkward way because my remote broke.